Hello, advanced computer scientist, Mr. Lang here, and we had a lot of fun working on making an app for a basketball game called Court Counter. And I'm going to kind of show some of the cool things that we did throughout this app. Learned a lot of new things during this lesson. So first of all, here's kind of our finished app over here on the right-hand side. If you have Team A, they just hit a three-pointer, sweet. The other team goes down and just gets a dunk. That's 2 points. He got fouled. He hit the free throw. So 1 point there. The other team went back and hit a two-pointer. The next team came back and hit a three-pointer, and so on and so forth. And then we can reset the score back to 0 when the game is all over for the next game. All right. And so over here on the left, this is where we designed a lot of things. This is our XML. This is where, again, we just make the buttons, we make the text, we make the images, we decide the colors and everything and make it look pretty. I'm going to go through this here in a little bit. I'm going to come back to that. And a couple other documents we used are the colors XML. Let me see if I can blow this up a little bit. These are some of the colors that we used throughout. We tried some out. Some were there by default. Some we added. We added an orange. I added a darker gray by using their hexadecimal. We also then went into the themes XML where we changed some of the primary colors of our buttons to orange here. That did that so we could have where it did it to all the buttons. We didn't have to go into each individual button and change the color of it if we were going to have all the buttons the same exact color. We can do it all right here in our themes. I also went here for the text itself, for the color to be black on the actual text itself. And so that is what we did here in the XML. We then added some things in our Java. We added a few methods. We created a lot of methods. We created some global variables as well as local variables, and I'll talk about that here shortly. First of all, I'm going to head on back to my Get Crackin' and kind of show where it all began. So I'm going to go ahead and right click on this one here and choose this initial Android Studio commit. This is our head now. If I go to Android Studio, this is going to change, and this won't change because I have this running on an emulator right now, but I could probably close that. And so, but this is the designer. This is what we had when we first began. This is our Java file. Didn't have much in our Java file at all. Very basic. This is where we started. So going back to our Get Crackin' with all of our commits, here we updated our XML with text and bullet views. So if I right click on this and check this commit out, let's check out and kind of see what we did here. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to my Android Studio, and you can see that we added some buttons here as well as some text views. I know it may be kind of hard for you to see that, but in our designer, but we added that in XML and gave it our different attributes. For example, we have a linear layout because things are going to be nice and straight down the page there. We have a text view for our Team A. It's hard to see, but it's all the way at the top there, Team A. We got a text view for the score here of 0. We have 0 right there. And then we have our buttons. And then we have our text for 3 pointers, 2 pointers, and a free throw. All right, so we just added some XML, starting to add things to the GUI, the graphical user interface. Let me jump back to Get Crackin'. Excuse me. We added display for Team A method. All right, so we went into our Java and we started adding some stuff there. I'll come back to that in a little bit. We added a method for add 3 pointers for Team A. We added a method for 3 and 1 pointers for Team A. So let me go ahead and check this one out. So I'm going to go ahead and check out this commit and jump back over to Android Studio, and our app looks the same, but some of the magic is happening on our Java file here, and we created a method for add 3 points for Team A. So if they score 3 points, added a method for add 2 for Team A, added a method for add 1 for Team A, and then display for team A. This is going to display the actual entire team score. All right, so again, we started going into that and into the Java file, the thing behind the scenes that's running the program. All right, so then I wish I could blow this up. I'm sorry if it's hard to read it. We declared and initialized a global variable for team A. So let's take a look at that. This was an important commit. So if we check that out and head on back here, we created a global variable for our score for team A. And before the game begins, well, that score is 0. All right, there is no score to the game at all. All right, and so eventually we're going to start adding some other variables in here. All right, but we just added a global variable. We declared it and initialized it right here. Told it was going to be an integer because the value is a whole number. 0 right now. Yes, 0 is a whole number. And then we declared it by giving it a name and initialized it by giving it a value. All right, so let's see what else we did. I'm going to jump up here, and here we maybe updated some of our colors. Along the way, we've updated our score for the button methods. We added a new parent linear layout. We team B layout in XML. You know what? That might be a good one to take a look at. So this one here, we added a team B here. All right, so if I go to my XML and give it a second, and maybe it's not showing up quite yet. I think we're just adding some things, maybe in our Java file for team B. No, we haven't done that yet either. So you know what I would like to do is, I like to go here, click on my files here, and it will tell me what I added. And oh, there it is. I added all the different text view for team B. Now we can't see it yet because I needed to do some adjustments. So if I go back to my XML and scroll down, we are now making siblings and children and cousins, believe it or not, in our XML. We'll talk about that more later. But here's all the different buttons for team B. All right, here's all the buttons and text for team A. Now you don't see it yet because we had to go in and kind of adjust some of our settings here, which you'll see shortly. All right, so I'm going to head on back to Get Crackin' here. We added a layout weight to our XML. That's when we're going to start seeing the team B. We added our methods for team B as well inside of the Java file. So let's go ahead and check out this commit. This commit right here will probably show us where the app is starting to take form a little bit. So now we can see, let me move this over just a skosh here. Now we can see that we have team A here, we have team B here. If we go to our Java file, we have our global variable for team B now. And if we go through our methods, here is our method here for team A. If they score a 3-pointer, score team A equals score of team A plus 3. Add 2 points. There's our local variable to add 2 points to that when we click that button. And now we're down to the methods for team B. All right, so we have a single line or a multi-line comment, excuse me, here saying, hey, now these methods down here are going to be for team B. And we have our methods for all those buttons for team B. Just had to do some copying and pasting and really just changing some of the names for them. So let's head on back to our Get Crackin'. We added a reset button here. So what we did here was, let's go ahead and check this commit out. If I go to my XML file here, change some things around, and I added there's a lot looking at here, but all the way at the bottom, I added a button for reset. If we go to our Android Studio and take a look at it, here is our reset button, and you can tell that we started changing some colors as well inside of the color theme here, and well as the color XML. Again, that's dealing with all the different styles of it. All right, so let's go. We updated some text color there. Here's where we're really getting into making it look a little prettier. We added a gray line, all right, for our court counter. So if I go here and wait a second, you can see a gray line that has formed right there. All right, and so that is actually right here with this view right here to add that darker gray line. I actually changed the color of it later, but that is what we did there. In the colors, I actually had to add a new color with the hex of A9, A9, A9 to get that darker gray color. I had to look that up on the internet. And then again, I added that here inside of the view for the darker gray line right there. And then I just changed around some of the layout heights from match parent to wrap content. So things were looking good on the GUI, on the graphical user interface. All right, let's go ahead and check out now our other ones here. Here's our, we adjusted the margins for view and buttons. So let me go ahead and check that out, show you kind of what we did there. And we'll give it a second. You can see that I've changed some of the styles for Team A and Team B, adjusted some of the margins for the buttons themselves. Again, I love Get Cracking because if I click on this, it will show me I changed the padding from 4 dp, took that out, added bottom padding of 24 dp. On this button here, I took out the layout margin of 8 dp and added a layout margin bottom of 8 dp, a left and right margin of 24 dp. Again, this is where you are changing the way your GUI looks. All right, and then I started changing the background color. This again, we're kind of at the end of it, so I want to make it look a little prettier. So I added a blue color to the back of my application. All right, and so all the way at the top here, this is where I found my blue color. I found it online, the hex for that, and I added that background color blue. And then here I changed the text color in the XML. So let's go ahead and check this out, see what we did here. And go to our application itself. You can see that I changed some of the background colors or the color of the text and the score to white. I thought that made it pop a little bit better. Again, just kind of going through this and changing the way things look. I added a basketball image here. And we'll wait for this to load up. You can see that I added the court counter here. This was my relative layout. I added all of this right here to get that basketball to go in there. There's my image view, my drawable basketball there. All right, and then my text view for court counter, I wanted going in the middle of that, and so I added that there to say court counter. That was not part of the image. That was something that I added. All right, we're getting close to the end here. I changed the color of the vertical line. And, you know, these are just some simple things when we get towards the end of it, but I changed that color to white. All right, and then when I was all done, I went through my program and I deleted any unnecessary spacing, kind of made the spacing look good on the on all the code. And when I was all done with that, I then merged my court counter into the development branch. I opened up my development branch. I looked at it. I actually ran it in the emulator. And we'll wait patiently for my emulator to load up. And it's coming online right now, and it won't be long until it loads up. It looks like it's coming online. So here's what it would look like on my cell phone. I'm going to actually load it on my cell phone here. But again, I have my white line here. I can reset it. In the development branch, I'm checking this one last time. I'm asking maybe some of my friends to go through the court counter, look through the code, see if there's any discrepancies, is anything not working right, before I then send it to what we call our master branch. This is our production. This is what is out on people's phones. This is what people are using on a day-to-day basis. We don't want any errors on that. So we put it in our development branch, ask people to check it out. We don't want to send people our court counter app with all of our different changes because we want to keep that. We do not want anybody to mess with all of our different files. So we put it in a different branch, and we let people, we share that with people and ask them to beta test it. Make sure everything is good. And when everything checks out and it's okay, we then merge that into our master. We put it on the Google Play Store. People can download our app and use it and have a lot of fun with it, and then maybe even tell us some improvements that they want us to do on down the road. But once I check that out, again, this is the actual main branch here. This is what's out in production. So I hope you enjoyed our app. It's really cool. Our court counter, they just scored a 3, sweet, just got a sweet dunk, and then they stole the ball, got a 3-pointer, and so on and so forth. So a lot of fun making this app. I hope you enjoyed me kind of going through explaining some of the things that we did. And if you have any questions, again, please feel free to send me a message. Have a great day, everybody.